Lobbying organizations or local sports clubs do not qualify. That's today's tax tip from NBC News Radio. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Dunc and Holder on a Thursday, March 15th. Larry Holder, Clyde Verdun sitting in Jeffrey Duncan's seat as Jeffrey is globe-trotting at this point. David DeCorbier back at iHeart Central. And lots has happened since we last spoke on the air. We were speaking about, a Jordy Nelson potential visit. That's like 10 stories ago.
Yeah.
As far as in Saints free agency lane. I might as well just start off the show right off the bat. Breaking news right off the bat. The Saints lost Senio Kelemete yesterday. We anticipated that was happening. I just confirmed literally 2 minutes ago, right before the show, that his replacement on the roster, a very familiar name, Jermon Bushrod, will be coming back to the Saints. Last spent time with the Miami Dolphins, has played, obviously, tackle. We know he's played tackle with the Saints, played tackle with the Bears, but he played a lot of guard with the Dolphins. Bring the band back together. He's married to a New Orleans girl. We had him on the show during Super Bowl week, and I joked with him that me and my buddy would kidnap him old school style in the van. And I can tell you, for 100% fact, he's willing to do it. He wants to be kidnapped by me and my friend.
Awesome.
From his old River Ridge house. I just let people know where he lives.
Yeah, well, now they're going to go house hunting in River Ridge. So
that's okay.
Good luck with that.
That's okay.
Because you want to be. Not only do we give out people's phone numbers on the YouTube stream during the breaks when we need to call people, now people are going to willingly go to River Ridge and look for these houses.
Hey, River Ridge is kind of a big place. So
it's big enough.
It's not that big. But anywho, you never know. Maybe someone's living in it. Maybe sold the house. I don't know. But Jermon Bushrod is on his way back to the Saints, and I think it's a good move. Veteran guy. He knows what he's getting into. Certainly a good pedigree. Pro Bowler in his prime. Two-time Pro Bowler. Part of that Super Bowl championship team. Is he going to start? No, I'm pretty sure he knows what he's coming in his role. And
I like what you say on Twitter, utility. I think that's a great word to use.
Absolutely. So, the deal will be final pretty soon, but people, that's how it is. You agree to terms, finalized soon, so there you go. He's coming back. I think it's a good signing. So another piece to the puzzle, and oh my, have the Saints added a piece to the puzzle, or two, or three, and now a fourth one, and as the signing period for the Saints and the rest of the NFL has now opened up. Of course, we're going to touch on all of that in today's show. I know Clyde wants to get into NIT madness. My goodness.
That's what I wanted to get into today. Not the NCAA, not March Madness, not the actual 64-team field now set. No, I want to talk about the NIT. And maybe, just maybe, we could also talk about the CBI.
Well, guess what? The fact that we're bringing up the NIT and the NCAA tournament starts in less than an hour, and you are currently filling out your bracket now?
I am. I'm literally going to time myself from the start of the show until I think the first tip-off is at like 11:25 or something close to that. Can Clyde fill out his bracket before the first tip-off? Yes or no?
I think you can make it.
Right now I'm concerned.
Your quick decision, but we do have commercial breaks through that.
Also true.
So,
but I'm also doing the YouTube stream. I'm talking to the guys, obviously, my loyal YouTube fan base. So stoked that they can see me today, and I'm not the disembodied voice. So really, really good start to the day.
All we're going to do as far as the NCAA tournament is make Final Four picks and pick a champion, because I told Clyde I would not lie to you. I would never lie to our audience. Today is the first time I'm even looking at a bracket. Right now,
lying.
I'm holding up our print edition that it ran in Wednesday's paper, and it's the first time I'm looking at it. And all I had to do was look at it for 5 seconds and already picked my champion.
That's crazy. I don't know how you can do that.
And my champion is going to be a surprise. You're going to be surprised at my champion.
Okay, so it's going to be a number 1 seed. Got it.
No, it will not be a number 1 seed.
Oh.
I'll just put
I'm
it to you
shocked.
that way.
I'm going to be shocked / impressed and then ultimately disappointed.
Especially when they go out and maybe the first round or something like that.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah, exactly. You know me and
And your
proclamations.
picks. Oh yeah, man. Your proclamations, picks during the football season. Oh yeah, I know where this is going to go.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Hence why I still look like a chia pet.
I don't know, dude. Like I looked at a picture yesterday and I ended up pulling up one of the streams from a month and a half ago. It's scary because literally it's probably as full now as it was then, and it's only getting more full. So.
Yeah, I don't know if Fratastic Larry's coming back or if I'm going to keep it short, because I went to this function and people were asking me, man, are you going to do that? What are you going to do? And they say it looks great, like the length it is, because I was actually able to put some sort of product in there.
Oh,
well, my wife,
fancy Larry.
my wife had to literally plant her hand down to try to push the hair down because it's flying everywhere. But anywho. But yeah, I'm not going to be betting any hair on an NCAA tournament champion here.
Good. Don't do that.
No.
You've already made enough grand proclamations already that I don't think you need to put your hair or any other body part on the line for anything.
Exactly, and yet you know me, I'm tempted to do just about
Yeah,
anything.
no, all we gotta do is get someone in here to come and go do and do it, and you're gonna do it.
No doubt about it. But look, we will talk with Josh Katzenstein, top 11 o'clock hour, about all things Saints free agency. It will be an interesting conversation, and of course tonight the Pelicans take on the Spurs on the road. Important matchup. The Spurs need it more than the Pelicans, amazingly enough, as the Pelicans are in the playoffs and the Spurs are currently out the playoffs. So we'll talk about that, and we'll get your phone calls. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved, because we want your interaction. What do you make of some of the moves that the Saints have made? And let's just go down the list. If you have kind of shut off social media and coverage for the last 24 hours, there's been a lot of comings and goings. And let's just start it with a proclamation that I made, what was it, Tuesday night on Twitter?
Yeah,
Tuesday night? And I was seriously half joking because I had heard that this might be a possibility, but I didn't want to take it super seriously. So I put out on Twitter, Saints fans, you better get ready for a Patrick Robinson Saints reunion. And you would have thought I said blow up the Superdome by some people's reactions. And lo and behold, 4-year deal for one Patrick Robinson, former Saints first-round pick. And I just looked back and I wrote a column on it, and it's on NOLA.com. I wrote it yesterday, and it is certainly something that, boy, oh boy, it was a tough ride for Patrick Robinson here, and I didn't make it any easier for him.
No,
I think personally,
the
I did
word
not.
that you used was ruthless.
In
telling us you were writing this column, and I was like, oh boy, I cannot wait to see what you're about to produce.
Well, I could tell you that, and I put this in my column, and if you have time in between your bracket filling, we should probably make a Twitter poll about Patrick Robinson.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. How far are you in your bracket? I'm just checking.
I've already gotten through the first round on the South bracket. So far, so good, but I'm really having trouble once you get to the West, because this is when you get into like the 12-5 matchups, and you're really trying to figure out, are you going to pick the 12? Do you really want to go with the 5? Because I haven't even gotten to Kentucky yet. And we'll
all right, I'm just making sure that you're doing real work as opposed to trying to win $1 billion from like ESPN or something.
Well, I mean, hey, man, if I do, I will spread the wealth, as in I will give you guys a couple bucks for letting me on the show, so thanks.
All right, well, we'll do that, because we gave you the avenue to make your picks right here on the show.
Very
true. Okay, we'll do a Twitter poll on Patrick Robinson. But as far as him as a player, him as a person, I could tell you, him as a person, when he was enduring the obvious on-field troubles here, where 2012 may have been one of the worst seasons I've ever seen for a cornerback. And that's probably being polite. It was bad. It was brutal. And then he gets the knee injury in 2013, fights his way back, and eventually wins a starting job for, I'm talking literally 2 games, because he played so poorly in the first 2 weeks that he got yanked midway through the Cleveland game. It was Johnny Manziel's, I think he threw one pass or he ran a route or something. I remember being in Cleveland. And he had to come back in for the end of that game and blew the coverage for the game-clinching touchdown for the Browns. He blew the coverage on that play, too. He was taken and removed from the starting lineup for a good 3 months. And he ended up becoming a nickel cornerback for the Saints, worked his way back, started playing well, then his job went away, then he signed elsewhere. I could tell you, though, that his teammates respected the hell out of him. By the time he left, I respected the hell out of him because he always kept a great attitude despite facing the adversity on the field, despite being basically a whipping boy off the field for fans. And I could tell you, fans haven't forgotten about this. And you mentioned his name. I put this in my column. Some people still shudder. They think of him as Jason David. They think of him by the end as Fred Thomas. They think of him as, that's what I said in my column, a GOAT. Not the acronym GOAT.
Yeah, a literal GOAT.
Right, as in the GOAT. Yes, but what a redemption tour he's had. He is a hero in Philadelphia now.
Yeah.
I think of him, and it's not as the grand sense, but he is a Tracy Porter-like hero in Philadelphia, given the way he played this whole year with the Eagles as a nickel cornerback, and given the way he performed in the playoffs. Pick 6 off Case Keenum, that just ended it for the Vikings, and ended it early for the Vikings. And boy, you get him back, and I'm curious what the reaction is out there. I know what it's been in the comment section on NOLA.com. It's been mixed. I know what it's been on Twitter. It's been mixed, but I've mentioned this on the show, Clyde, a few times before, and we were kind of taken aback by it, that the top free agent cornerback that was set to hit the market, the top graded free agent cornerback via Pro Football Focus, was none other than Patrick Robinson.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he's coming back, and you look at the price, I think it was 4 years, max out at $20 million with $10 million guaranteed. If this doesn't work, let's just hypothetically say if this doesn't work, because I think this go-round is going to go much better than the last go-round. It couldn't get much worse, let's be honest. If this doesn't work, it's not a total blown-up deal. It's not Malcolm Butler, $61 million, 5 years blown up. It's not Tremaine Johnson, $72 million for 5 years blows up in your face. It's not Jarris Byrd blowing up in your face. So the risk is honestly not that large, if you ask me. And I think that's a fact that I think some Saints fans need to understand, that this is not a gigantic risk. You're signing him to be possibly your starter if he can beat out Ken Crawley. He will certainly be your nickel corner. And as we know, the Saints could always use that. I think he's an upgrade from P.J. Williams. You don't have to use Kenny Vaccaro or a Kurt Coleman there. You have a bona fide slot corner who was one of the best in the NFL last year.
Yeah, and I think, the thing that we were, hypothesizing, especially after you did it on Tuesday, and then throughout, since the NFC title game and since the Super Bowl, it's been hypothesizing the fact that he has probably been one of the best defensive players in the secondary, in the NFC, for the last few years. And you're right, if you're following us on NOLA.com and you're following our continuous updates with whether our tracker or other things, I was really taken aback by the post from Philadelphia. I can't remember if it was NBC Philadelphia or if it was from the Eagles or something close to it, but it was basically, saying, Patrick Robinson, good luck in New Orleans. We love you. You'll always be a hero here. And to me, that says a lot about the development he's been able to do since he left. And I think that's the thing that, if you're a Saints fan, you have to look at as he went from being a player that a lot of people probably thought did not have a very long future in the NFL to someone who has clearly worked hard at a lot of other places to finally get his chance in Philadelphia and maximize it to its fullest ability. Because at this point, we're bringing in a Super Bowl champion. We are bringing in a guy who has helped and literally helped get the Eagles to the Super Bowl and then help them in the Super Bowl. He is a winner. So at this point, and to your point and to your credit, especially with what we're going to talk about with the rest of free agency, all these numbers, all these contracts, they're going to be different. You see it with Drew Brees' contract, with the shell, with that third year with that, shell deals, just so that we can spread the money across.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. I said when that came out, that was the kicker of that's the most important thing in my eyes, because they needed that to mirror what they did in this previous deal.
Exactly. So a lot of these things and a lot of these contracts are going to change. They're going to be different. And now you get a chance to see what can he do at a high level for your team again, as opposed to when he was a rookie.
Absolutely. All right, we'll keep going about Patrick Robinson. Let's take a break right here on the show. Plenty of other free agency news to talk about. Just in case you're just jumping on the show, broke it at the top of the show that Jermon Bushrod, he's going to be coming back. Deal is en route to being finalized, so that signals all indications that he's ready to sign this thing. So he's going to be coming back. And utility lineman to make up for the loss of Senio Kelemete. We'll get into that. All the other comings and goings, players visiting elsewhere. So much to talk about. LSU, ULL, NIT, Pelican Spurs. NCAA tournament starts in 45 minutes or so. Wow, unbelievable. And, oh, by the way, Jermon Bushrod, already been a guest on our show. So,
yeah.
Just like the Patrick
we got
Robinson,
that number.
Just like the Patrick Robinson connection, I'd say I helped spur that on. I gave him some good feelings when we talked to him about a month and a half ago.
You brought the memories back, and he was like, maybe I want to do that again.
I'm taking credit for that, as I do for
everything else.
Everything else, exactly. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
All right, so the Twitter poll is, what do you think of the Saints bringing back Patrick Robinson on a 4-year deal? Goat move or goat move?
I like it.
Sports 1280.
New Orleans.
Aging gracefully isn't easy. Low T, thyroid issues, and weight gain all conspire against you. Enter Vitality Wellness Group. Vitality Wellness
surprised
are experts
I'm surprised
in
it's even that heavy. That's crazy.
A host of aging issues. Call 504-309-4172 or visit NOLA.com.
If you have an Advantage card, you can get an extra 5% off every day on items big or small. So you can save an extra 5% on a new coat of paint, updating appliances, replacing the flooring, and even save an extra 5% on little things like cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, and air filters. The big to-dos to the everyday essentials. You get an extra 5% savings every day when you use your Lowe's Advantage card. If you don't have one, apply today. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval and can't be combined with any other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
My name is Jacob Sanchez.
And I'm Carmen Sanchez. People with autism need to know that they're loved and that they're accepted. We felt like we were alone, and now we feel like part of some big, amazing community. Fundraising is important because it funds vital programs, research. The hope is that this can be turned into resources for people in our community. Register for an Autism Speaks walk.
Time to dot the I's and cross the T's on those brackets. The first round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament tips off today with 16 of 32 first-round games. Oklahoma and Trae Young get the action started against Rhode Island in a 10-7 battle at 12:15 Eastern. Number 1 seeds Kansas and Villanova also in action. Texas Southern and Syracuse advancing in first 4 games last night. In the pros, Golden State over the Lakers, 117-106 in the Bay last night without Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, or Draymond Green. Kevin Durant, who was there, saying he was looking forward to playing L.A.
They beat us pretty badly last year, and we almost had that sweep, but it's good to get them out the way.
Warrior sharpshooter Klay Thompson didn't play due to a fractured right thumb. ESPN reports he's expected back for the playoffs. The Wizards top the Celtics in a wild double overtime.
Who is this dude?
124 in Boston.
Man.
Future Hall of Fame Browns left tackle Joe Thomas announcing he's retiring after 11 NFL seasons. That's sports. Jake Orwin, NBC News Radio.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back. Clyde Berdan, Larry Holder here with you. Jeff will be gone until at least next Tuesday. Man, I wish I could just go to London right when free agency starts.
I know, right?
I know.
Couldn't have picked a better time to go.
Is there a bad time to ever go there? I'm just curious.
No, there's never a bad time to go to London.
But he's already been.
London in springtime is wonderful.
But he's been like 2 days, like a month ago, or 6 months ago.
6 months ago, you both were there, and I was.
No, I was not
get
there.
out.
I was not there.
Oh yeah, you weren't there. You were here with us.
Yeah, I held down the fort and allowed our Josh Katzenstein to go, and
Amos was there, and he was wearing a West Ham jacket yesterday, knowing that West Ham is having problems with pitch invaders, and they might be playing matches behind closed doors.
I don't know what any of that means.
It's jokester. Jokester stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what any.
That's all I'm saying.
Should I start talking about the latest on Real World Road Rules Challenge or Vanderpump Rules or any of that? Would you be?
Is the challenge still on?
Damn right, it's still on.
Why?
It's ongoing.
Why?
Because it's the only thing you got going on MTV without this, since there's no music video.
That's not true. I saw a story yesterday that TRL is back on MTV and it's expanding.
Oh well, you could keep.
I didn't realize that. Does TRL stand for the reality countdown or something?
The reality lifestyle.
Exactly, because that's what that is.
Something like that. So, all right, no one wants to hear about that crap.
16 and pregnant.
So let's keep talking about Saints free agency. Let me go through all of the moves because
there are a lot.
My goodness, plenty of moves to be had. So I'm literally going to go through our story system and just go through the headlines because they're ongoing. Because since we last left you, we were talking about Jordy Nelson potentially visiting the Saints. Who knows if he ever gets there? It's third on his list of visits. Typically, you don't get to the third stop. That's not normal. So the Cardinals released the Honey Badger, former LSU standout Tyrann Mathieu. Of course, Saints fans were coming out in droves. I seriously doubt that happens because they've got Kurt Coleman. And people are saying, well, I wish they would have waited. Well, I'm sure Kurt Coleman costs cheaper. And I don't even know if he'd be willing to come back here. Who knows? But forget about that. Plenty of other things to talk about. So we already touched on the Patrick Robinson deal. Let's go to Demario Davis. Been talking about how they might want to beef up at linebacker. And Demario Davis, I'm pretty sure the Saints must be on the same exact page as Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
Because Patrick Robinson was the highest graded free agent cornerback heading into free agency. The linebacker, Demario Davis, was graded as the highest graded linebacker to hit free agency by Pro Football Focus. And, what do you know? The Saints go out and sign both of these guys. Look, and Demario Davis, I'm curious, though, to see what they do with him. You're signing him to starter money. They signed A.J. Klein to starter money. He played middle linebacker for the Jets last year and certainly had his best season. And he certainly brings numbers with him. He brings some speed with him, and I think Saints fans are going to be pleased with this acquisition. I really do, because now you look at your linebacker core, you've got some depth, you've got some guys who can start. It seems like poor Craig Robertson, every year they want to not have him start, even though every year he ends up starting because of injuries.
And playing pretty well.
Absolutely.
He had some really big moments last year.
There's no doubt. They would not have been able to be have played as well at linebacker without him being on the roster. But Look, Demario Davis, I think he comes in and he's an instant starter. Okay, our next headline. The Saints won't tender Brandon Coleman. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Clyde, it's something that I question if any of those guys would get tendered, and honestly, I'm a little surprised that the Saints tendered Willie Snead and didn't tender Brandon Coleman, but I guess they're willing to let him walk. So I'm curious to see what the market is for Brandon Coleman, and he might come back for a lesser deal.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be stunned if he went elsewhere.
No, I mean, at this point, you're kind of, it's a 50-50 crapshoot to see what happens with him, but you're right. I think the idea that you were going to tender the lowest offer to Willie Snead after the season that Willie Snead had, granted, it never got off to the point where you would hoped it would because of the injury, of the suspension, and then he was just never as involved in the offense later on, while Brandon Coleman was. Brandon Coleman had moments where he was actually 100% involved in the offense, was making plays outside of, some unfortunate fumbles and things like that. But still, he was at least involved. He was your fourth leading receiver. So you're not going to tender that guy who and saw production. But I guess at this point, the biggest thing I think that strikes me about yesterday and today is that I'm surprised that all the signings that we've talked about, or the current signings that we will currently have for the Saints and that we will see, is all been on defense. And I really believe that the Saints saw what Philadelphia did last year. They saw what other teams around the league were able to do defensively, and they said, our offense is set. Our offense is fine. We've got weapons in Alvin Kamara. We've got Mark Ingram. We've got Michael Thomas. We've got Drew Brees. We've got all these guys. But now we really need to stack this defense with as many guys as we have. And you talk about the first one, Demario Davis, Patrick Robinson, right after that, like both of these huge signings saying, okay, great. And we have not talked about an offensive guy. And every big major signing or free agent player that we've talked about has been defense, including Senio Kelemay.
Well, we talked a lot about going into the free agency about how we thought the Saints were going to be in the market for Jimmy Graham. There's no doubt they were in the market for Jimmy Graham. So,
and then $40 million later from the Packers, it was
yeah, $30 million, but 10 a year, same sort of contract look as basically he got from the Saints and played under with the Seahawks. But yeah, so look, it's pretty curious. So I'm curious to see what happens there. Okay, let's take a break right here on the show. And if you want to get involved in the conversation, 504-260-1280. The fact that I'm already through the second segment and I'm still barely halfway through the list of action with free agency is pretty remarkable to me.
It is pretty remarkable.
And look, remember how active the Saints were a year ago as soon as the Saints were able to start signing players, putting pen to paper. They signed right out of the gate A.J. Klein and Ted Ginn. Kind of not giant signings, but middle of the road, and those turned out to be well. Look, I would argue that the Saints did the same thing with their first two guys, Patrick Robinson and Demario Davis. But more to talk about. So let's take a break right here on the show. When we get back, we will continue free agent talks, our thoughts on moves, potential moves, and everything else in this busy sports season. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by Wild Alaska Seafood.
139 votes.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz. Today, a good-looking day. Mostly sunny skies, warming up to 72. Now tonight, overnight lows not as cold. We're talking 50s both north and south. And for the next few days, Friday into the weekend, your rain chance comes in around 30 to 40%. Not going to be a washout, but we are expecting scattered showers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So just keep an eye to the sky and the radio ready as high temperatures warm up in the weekend.
There's your Dunc.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
Alaskans care about what goes into a great
This doesn't make sense.
That's why they work hard to protect the seas that bring the food.
How are they going to pay this?
How are they going to pay him?
The greatest protein source in the world.
He wants money.
Life and sustainable fisheries with every bite. For quick, easy recipes and cooking tips, go to wildalaskaseafood.com.
Restructuring.
Aging gracefully isn't easy. Low T, thyroid issues, and weight gain all conspire against you. Enter Vitality Wellness Group. Vitality Wellness doctors are experts in hormone therapy, ED, and a host of aging issues. Call 504-309-4172 or visit NOLAHRT.com.
I know he's petitioned for a new holiday.
Red hot from the perimeter and ice at the foul line. Big as DeMarcus Cousins, a 6'11" defensive flamethrower that vaporizes man-on-man coverage.
Dude, it's been crazy.
Big as Anthony Davis, a laser-guided missile of athleticism aimed at the rim.
Yeah, right?
Comes to the Pels battle the Boston Celtics Sunday, March 18th for Military Appreciation Night. Join the Pels for a night of family fun. Visit Pelicans.com for tickets. New Orleans Pelicans.
We'll certainly have more than enough time.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Mitch on the mic, and we've got Yogi Master Katie in the studio answering your questions.
Hello, everyone.
All right, we have the first caller. Here's Ryan from Georgia.
Welcome, Ryan. What can I help you with today?
Hi, Katie. What steps should I take to maintain my zen while applying for my first mortgage?
Mortgage?
I'm going to need to meditate on that one.
Go to a yoga master to perfect your downward dog. Go to Making Sense from Navy Federal to perfect your mortgage plan. Stretch.
Hey, Larry.
is making sense. Federally insured by...
Can you text me Bo's phone number?
Pharmacy at Target, we put a little extra heart into everything we do.
Let me
like
get it. I
actively
don't
looking
even
to
have
save
it.
you money.
Oh, okay.
He sent me a message
Refills,
via
even rewards. Get a
Facebook.
$5 Target coupon for every 10 prescriptions. On your next Target run, stop by CVS Pharmacy. We're the place with the big heart. Not valid on all prescriptions, including those purchased in Arkansas, New Jersey, or New York. Other restrictions apply. See cvs.com/extracare-target
Actually, I can
pharmacy
get it.
for details. CVS Pharmacy at Target. Health is everything.
Our insiders are talking your teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Some breaking news on a far different front. Ronald Gasser has been sentenced to 30 years in the killing of former John Curtis standout, former #1 recruit in all of high school football heading to college, USC, played for the Jets, Joe McKnight, in the road rage killing. So Ronald Gasser sentenced to 30 years in the killing of Joe McKnight. And, of course, that came in a doubly unfortunate time with the killing of Joe McKnight, of course, and the killing of Will Smith. So just wanted to pass that along since it's happening right now. Also, let's go on a completely different front. Breaking news again. Well, breaking speculation. Let's put it to you this way. Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. I mean, it just doesn't stop with the Saints. The Saints may not be done in free agency. They have interest in former Dolphins defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh and are working on bringing him in for a visit. And Ian saying, assuming that's the first visit, it's a good sign for their chances to add top shelf front seven help. I don't know where they're going to get the money, because if Suh's going to be looking to secure any money, now look, he's gotten guaranteed money, out the wazoo his entire career. But if he's coming to the Saints, I don't know what they're going to do to pay this guy. But would he certainly beef up their front line? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you got to deal with the baggage and the potential you may step on someone's face or do something idiotic.
Yeah, he's going to be good for getting you some personal foul penalties over the course of a year. So at least, and then some questionable things that may be caught after plays are over that people are going to, because, they're looking for it now because he has that reputation.
Well, let's just say he does come to New Orleans. Let's just say this. He's never played with a respected leader as high as Drew Brees. Cam Jordan is certainly a leader on defense. We know Jermon Bushrod's coming back. He's a veteran. He's played with Suh.
Yeah.
Maybe if they could chill him out, I don't know, but I haven't.
That's probably some insider information too, because if you're bringing Jermon back and he's been in that locker room to understand how he operates a little bit, see him in practice. Maybe there's some information there that he can give to the Saints on, hey, look, I think I know how you can bring this guy in and how you can get to him better than maybe Adam Gase and other coaches were able to do.
Maybe
Jim
so.
Schwartz.
Maybe so. But look, if this doesn't signify the Saints are all in and trying to win in the next couple of years, nothing is. So we will keep an eye on Ndamukong Suh, see what happens. I guess salary cap is basically just some myth. I don't even know if it really exists for the Saints. I really don't.
It's a mythical creature.
Right, exactly. But also on the free agency front, according to Adam Schefter from ESPN, the Raiders are trying to finalize a deal today for former Packers wide receiver Jordy Nelson. He's still in Oakland, according to his sources, and the quote he has, "This is going to get done." So as I made a disclaimer yesterday, if you're third on the visit list, usually the player never gets there. Of course, Jordy Nelson was connected to the Saints. They were going to have a visit if he ever got out of the second city. I forget what it was. Maybe Seattle was the other team involved because I joked, they were trading Jimmy Graham for Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
So it looks like Jordy Nelson will be an Oakland Raider. So, yeah, again, and we haven't even gotten to the other moves over the last, 24 hours. And the fact that the Saints are moving and shaking this much absolutely signifies they're looking to win now.
Absolutely.
And we know that, but they are not being bashful with this at all.
Well, you can at this point, right? I mean, and it's interesting how this week started. We started this week with, not only talk about Jimmy Graham, but we started this week off with Zach Strief's retirement.
I forgot that even happened.
Yeah, we forgot because there was so much. It happened Monday because there was so much other craziness going on because everybody was looking to the spires for the white smoke to come out about Drew Brees' contract. But if you look at it in terms of the entire scope of the week, you had Zach Strief's retirement, you had all just a glowing remembrance of his time and just his eloquent words about playing for the Saints, what it meant to him, what it meant to playing for Drew Brees. The very next day, the very next morning, within an hour of significant progress, a deal was agreed, reportedly, and then now it's literally all this talk about. I was say not reportedly anymore, but literally it is okay. So we signed Drew Brees. Now we got to win, and everything else that we've been talking about since then has been we are not going to be shy about anything. We are going after anybody willing to want to come to New Orleans.
Jimmy Graham, Wilkerson,
Mo Wilkerson. And whatever other big name free agent that you want to try to get because
Malcolm Butler, we heard they were in the sweepstakes for there.
Yeah. I mean, and that was going to be the thing that I think we were probably going to try to talk about was how many big name guys, quality free agents were the Saints wanted to go after that signed so many. Tremaine Johnson, all these guys that were high level guys that the Saints hadn't really fully been connected to but wanted. But still, they haven't lost. And it's like you said, too. The Saints are going into free agency looking at it as, look, we got to be middle of the road here. We know who we want. We know what we want to try to get. And then using that to its fullest. And then, obviously, as we saw yesterday at 3 o'clock, pedal to the metal.
Well, and Ndamukong Suh is no middle of the road. So
no.
That's something if you're going to miss out on Jimmy Graham and Muhammad Wilkerson, and miss out is a relative term because I think the Saints – once the price got up, they were just willing to say no. But Ndamukong Suh is one of the best defensive tackles we've seen in quite a long time. And if you're gonna, he doesn't have to be necessarily the primary focus on the defense. Cam Jordan is an All-Pro. Look, they've got some nice young pieces in defensive tackle. It certainly also helps if they do get him. If they do, if they can work something out. Well, if they live with what they have at defensive end, draft a guy, see what's what. But look, they're beefing up. They know their time is now, and it's. I'm curious to see how far this thing goes. I really am. But let's keep going with some more moves. Saints they signed former Texans quarterback Tom Savage. He had to play. He was playing. Didn't he start the season as the starter?
Yes.
And then Deshaun Watson came on like gangbusters and then played again. And but yeah, he is now, at least right as of this second, your likely backup quarterback for the Saints. We know Chase Daniel headed off to Chicago yesterday. How long ago was that move? That move was at the start of yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And we're about 53 moves deep in there. So Tom Savage is going to join Taysom Hill. I personally don't think that it discounts the Saints from drafting a quarterback. I don't, because say Taysom Hill beats out Tom Savage and then you have a rookie. I think Tom Savage doesn't come in as the immediate, no questions asked backup.
Right.
Unlike when Chase Daniel replaced Luke McCown, you knew he was coming in to be the backup.
Yeah, I'm surprised, and just looking at, some of the comments through our YouTube stream this morning, and I wonder, along with that, as much as it is about Patrick Robinson, but I'm surprised at the number of people who seemingly don't like the move, and the name that kept coming up was Luke McCown, and I guess it's just because Luke McCown has roots here with this team and with this coaching staff because they feel like it's a better pair of safe hands. But, I mean, really, we're talking about Drew Brees' backup, and obviously the conversation always goes to, well, what happens if Drew Brees gets hurt? Well, Tom Savage has played in the league. He's been a starter in the league, and he has comparable qualities when it comes to being a decent quarterback. So but you got to have somebody back there, and Taysom Hill can't be the guy right now.
Well, maybe he can be, but that's what you go get a guy like Tom Savage and you have Taysom Hill, and they battle it out. It's basically the similar situation of when Luke McCown was here and Ryan Griffin was here. I mean, it's basically the same scenario, and you see what happens. And like I said, you could still feel free to draft a quarterback. All right, let's take a break right here on the show. I did not know Ndamukong Suh would take over the segment, so we still have more free agency things to talk about. So much going on. And at the top of the show, just a heads up, we had breaking news at the very top of the show. It sounds like what does it sound like? Jamon Bushrod will be back with the Saints. Perfect replacement in my mind. Arsenio Calamete can play guard, can play tackle. Saints are very familiar with him. I'm sure he's happy to come back. His family started here. He married a local girl. They're coming back. I'm sure they're thrilled. So, and he's a friend of Dunc and Holder since he's already been on the show.
Maybe we can have him on the show between now and then and say, hey, welcome back.
He better be on the show by the next couple of days.
Fair enough.
Or I'm coming for him, and he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because he knows you know where he lives.
Exactly. Literally. All right, so we'll talk more free agency madness. Josh Katzenstein will join us top of the 11 o'clock hour to talk about his thoughts on everything that we've been talking about as well. So coming back, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app, Dunc and Holder.
With up to 16 chances a day, every weekday to win $1,000. A smart move would be to listen.
I'm a smart speaker, and I agree.
The keyword to text and win comes at the top of the hour.
The smart money is on.
Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Mr. Ed's Seafood and Italian Restaurant, serving the best fried chicken in town. Fresh Louisiana seafood as well as delicious Italian.
Hey, we got a Mike in Lafayette wants to talk about the game.
Not there yet.
9 p.m. with 2 locations.
Well, apparently he read your mind or something.
Clearly.
Well, we mentioned it.
Yeah, we mentioned it, but clearly.
Avenue, or in Kenner at 910 West Esplanade at Chateau Boulevard. Let Mr. Ed's cater your next event. Mr. Ed's Seafood and Italian Restaurant. 2 great locations, 1 great menu. Mr. Ed's Oyster Bar and Fish House, now open in the quarter 7 days a week at 512 Bienville.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Mitch on the mic, and we've got Yogi Master Katie in the studio.
All right, Dave, I'm
answering
going
your
to text
questions.
you my buddy's number.
All right, we have the first call.
Okay, 1 second. All right, so we got a Ryan in New Orleans also.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so look, good news. That is, there was some miscommunication, but this is a special for our listeners and our listeners only, because Facebook says 800.
Ah, okay.
Federally insured by...
So only listeners to Sports 1280 and Dunc and Holder are able to take advantage of this great sale.
All right, cool.
So, but yeah, we're gonna have him. I want to have them call him just to make sure, just to reach it back out to him.
On your next Target run, stop by CVS Pharmacy. We're the place with the big heart. Not valid on all prescriptions, including those purchased in Arkansas, New Jersey, or New York. Other restrictions apply. See cvs.com/extracare-target or the pharmacy for details. CVS Pharmacy at Target. Health is everything.
It's Macy's one-day sale. Shop over 25,000 incredible deals of the day, in-store and online, Friday and Saturday. Like a great selection of shoes for her, 30 to 50% off. Stock up on bras from Bow.
Okay, so Mike in Lafayette and Ryan in New Orleans.
All right.
Dazzling collection of fine jewelry. Steal the scene with 25% off the hottest juniors prom dresses. And Charter Club damask sheets and bedding are 50% off. Don't miss Macy's one-day sale. And meet the new Macy's Star Rewards. Cardholders enjoy better rewards and more savings.
I just sent you that number.
Prices, exclusions apply.
Right. Okay, cool.
Girl in India who has dreams bigger than her village. Right now, there's an elder in Guatemala who dreams of a life of greater dignity and less loneliness. You can help change the future of one person in a single moment. Begin the change at unbound.org.
All right, 1 minute.
All right.
Google is lending a hand to the newspaper business. Bloomberg says users who subscribe to papers.
God, I mean, this morning's already been friggin' nuts. I've been on the phone with 3 different people already, all in the past like 20 minutes. And this is only one particular problem. I got 2 other fires I'm trying to put out.
Oh boy.
A few of the bigger papers have been lobbying Google to help the journalism cause at a time when their platforms have been exploited by fake.
Yeah, I think Jeremy actually said it best when he goes, look, you got a lot more work, a lot more responsibility, but expect to spend most of your time just putting out fires. That's kind of what it is. It's like, like trying to do daily maintenance, it never fails that something pops up where it's like, we're all going to die if you don't get this fixed.
Yeah.
Developers Conference last year was packed with announcements, including the debut of the HomePod, a new Mac, a new watch, and the AR kit. This year, we should get some new info on Macs, a new operating system, and some cheaper iPads. Tech Report, Larry Olson, NBC News Radio.
This is Dunc and Homer on Sports 1280 New Orleans.
All right, let's hit the phone lines. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Let's head over to Lafayette and talk with Mike. And I know Mike's calling in. We haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm feel free to talk about it. I'm sure he wants to talk LSU, UL Lafayette, NIT basketball. What's up, Mike?
Okay, that's exactly what I want to talk about. A couple of quick comments, and then you got other topics.
Yeah, you got. Well, we're going to get to it later, too. But, yeah, for sure. Go ahead. What you got?
Well, I've noticed reading today very little mention in the New Orleans and Baton Rouge media, right here in Lafayette, of course, about the Cajuns' health situation in the game last night. It was definitely a factor, and it was not good. Specifically, Jakina Gann, number 23, power forward, has been playing with bronchitis for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And there's no way that that was not a factor in the game. Reed had a career game against the best shot blocker in the South in some cases, and it's unfortunate that was the case. But if you don't believe that was a factor, you're just not being honest. That being said, the Cajuns' depth did not show up, and the other guys did not come up. And
all right.
The other point I wanted to make about the post-game comments, all that, I know got a little ugly. But Coach Wade questioned the Cajuns' schedule. Let me comment a little about that. The Cajuns' guy who makes the basketball schedule is the toughest job in the university. Virtually none of the mid-majors in the South will play home and home, including that one there in New Orleans. So
Ryan hung up.
The 5 home games. The only way to improve our non-conference schedule would be to play virtually all our games on the road against power schools, and Coach Mullen doesn't want to do that because of impact on classing and academics, etc. Now, for a school that played only one true non-conference road game, it's hard to respect when they question other people's schedule. Yes, our schedule was not as what it needs to be. That's not all our fault. We just can't get people to play it. You can respond to those comments. Thank you very much.
All right, Mike. Appreciate you taking the call. And Dave, why don't we play this at this point, if you're good? So, yeah, why don't we play and Mike is responding to Will Wade's comments about strength of schedule. Of course, if you're familiar with what happened, ULL's coach calling out LSU.
Before the game even started, after it was announced.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty sure. Just go real quick, Clyde. Just real quick, describe what was said, and we're going to play Will Wade's response after.
So when the NIT bracket was announced, Bob Marlin in his press conference about the game said that LSU basically didn't even want to play the game, and they also felt like they should have hosted because they had a better RPI and had more wins and won their conference's regular season.
And obviously, LSU has now has been taken aback. LSU has won, and now Will Wade wanted to get a little thing or two off his chest. So let's hear what Will Wade had to say after last night's win, LSU beating ULL.
And how that can you say what you will about just the pregame talk and chatter and how that fueled the game?
This is the 4-minute one you wanted to play, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Exception when people take shots at your program. And so our guys take exception to that. And I mean, to be honest, before Sunday, ULL wasn't even a thought in my mind. I had no idea what they were. But after the last couple of days, it's been something else. So I've never seen anything like it. So I was glad we were able to win for our fans, because I can only imagine having to listen to all that stuff. But it's just a win over a team, and we're moving forward in the NIT, and we've come a long way. We've made some progress, but I think it's a good win. I was proud of our guys. I thought we made some big plays. I thought Sampson made some big plays. I thought Wap played really well, and I thought our guys responded to their challenges leading up to the game.
Coach, what shots did UL take at you?
You been under a rock? Specific talking about they should be playing at home, and look, listen. What, you think they should have been playing at home?
I'm just asking.
Okay, well let me explain this to you. There's this thing called the NCAA nitty-gritty sheet. All right, their RPI is higher than ours. All right, they also played the 213th strength of schedule. We had the 54th rated strength of schedule. You say, oh, well, we play in the SEC, so the SEC stacks that up. We had 122nd strength of schedule out of conference. They had 172nd strength of schedule out of conference. All right? We have 9 quadrant 1 and 2 wins. They have 1. 24 of their 25 wins were against quadrants 3 and 4, including an 18-point loss at Ole Miss, who came in last place in our league. All right? Now, I know they like to talk about their 27 wins in the RPI, but the RPI doesn't factor in, and they're big on beating all the Louisiana schools. Unfortunately for the RPI, you can't count your wins over Louisiana College and Xavier of New Orleans. It's not the way it works. And so we have a better RPI. I mean, they have a better RPI, yes, but you have to look at the sheet. If you look at the teams that got in the NCAA tournament, it's the teams that beat other tournament teams. We went 7-7 against NCAA tournament teams. I was surprised it wasn't a 2-7 game and not a 3-6 game. I was a little disappointed. I thought it'd be a 2-7 type matchup instead of a 3-6 type matchup. But they take shots at that. They take shots at our gym. By the way, we have an arena, not a gym. They take shots at our arena and all that sort of stuff. And that's just, that's not right. And we're not scared of anybody. We're not scared of anybody. Point blank, period. And my guys aren't scared of anybody. And to think that, look, the SEC has a rule where you have to play teams with a 3-year rolling RPI. Who in here knows what ULL's 3-year rolling RPI is? 138. I'll save you the research. 138 going into this year. We have home and home series scheduled with Houston, who is 127, better than ULL. Home and home series that we scheduled with Memphis, 114, better than ULL. We have a home and home series coming up with VCU, 25, better than ULL. To talk about us being scared of starting home and home series with people and playing people is crazy. It's crazy. We scheduled better teams than them based on the SEC scheduling formula. The one thing I do agree that he said is he needs to run his program and I need to run my program, and we'll do what sees fit.
Lance in Houston.
All right, let's hit the phone lines, 504-260-1280. Let's go to Lance in Houston. Hey, Lance, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got? Woo, Will Wade, spicy.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
I'm going to miss Senio, but you know what? This is the first time I'll actually be able to buy a Texans jersey and wear it and not catch crap for it.
That's fair.
So
yes, I think he's well worth the purchase. Great guy.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And look, if there was a starting job open with him for the Saints, he'd still be here. I mean, so yeah. I think it's a very good move by the Texans to go get him. And look, he deserves to battle for a starting job. If he gets it, he'll be an asset. I could certainly say that.
If he doesn't get it, they're just continually stupid. That man and his family, I'm happy for him. Hey, for us, man, I'm happy about the Suh rumor, brother, because I was a little iffy on the Davis. I get the P-Rob. I get that. Happy to have him back if he plays up to the way he did last year. But I was kind of wondering, where was the splash going to come from? Every year, Mickey and those guys are good for one splash, man. I was hoping it was Suh. And now that I hear it, man, to imagine Suh next to Rankins, oh, my God. That really makes me happy, brother.
Or Suh next to Rankins, next to Cam Jordan. That would be pretty potent, I would say. Absolutely. So, hey, all right, appreciate the phone call. And, yeah, definitely go get you a Senio jersey. And, my goodness.
What a way to end an hour.
Will Wade, though, wow. Okay, I think that's – I know we had the caller just a minute ago explaining this, that, and the other. I think Will Wade spelled it out enough. He's convinced me that I'm sorry, LSU's right.
Yeah, Will Wade has the receipts. He had all the numbers, and he knew it.
I don't know what else
he was ready for the question.
Yeah, damn right he was ready for the question. Hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 is on the way. We'll continue back into Saints free agency. Probably have 53 questions for our own Josh Katzenstein. We'll keep it to about 6 or 7. So, all right, come on back. Hour number 2 here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Update your home indoors this spring and save big at Lowe's during our Spring Black Friday event. Because now you can update your flooring.
All right, Dave, it sounds like my man's going to get a
and save
cabana.
10% and get up to 30% off select appliances.
Wait, what's that?
Sounds like my man's going to go in and get the cabana.
All All right, good. They already contacted him?
Well, I just told him what's up. They're going to call him. I gave him the number.
Yeah.
Or he can call back and mention the show.
Yeah.
First, exclusions apply. See store for details.
I probably need to promote
Well,
that.
the crazy part is that the lady who, did the whole deal with us is on vacation in Seattle right now. So that's why the one person who actually knew all the real details is not in the building. So that's another big part of the fun confusion.
And all prescriptions, including.
If there's some way something can get screwed up, we'll find a way.
Yeah, exactly.
CVS Pharmacy.
Oh, we got David in Vegas.
WODT, WNOE, FM, HD2, New
More
Orleans.
callers.
Listen
More
to
callers.
iHeartRadio.
You're never going to get to any content today.
More calls for the call gods.
Yeah, the one day you plan for callers is the one day you don't.
You don't get them?
You get all this you get all this content, you're ready to rock and roll and put out all these numbers, and the phone won't stop ringing.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, the star power of Oklahoma's Trae Young taking on number 7 seed.
Shoot, I mean, that's why it's a good thing it's a 2-hour show, man. Like, if you got a 1-hour show and you take callers, you might as well just not even, bother doing any show prep.
Yeah, at this point, we're just kind of hanging out. Just, all right, guys, let them all in.
Yeah.
News from golf, Tiger Woods, who has won a record 8 times at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, had a share of the lead until just moments ago. He double bogeyed his 12th hole of the day. Tiger still 1 under par through 12 first-round holes, 3 off the lead of Brandon Harkins. In other hoops news, Hall of Famer Clyde Drexler has signed a 3-year deal to become the next commissioner of the Big 3 Basketball League. I'm Deb Carson.
We are North. Your shot at $1,000 now. Text the keyword cash to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeartRadio info. Standard data and message rates apply. That's cash to 200-200.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself in the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely, abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
At CVS Pharmacy at Target, we put a little extra heart into everything we do. Like actively looking to save you money.
That
Generics,
hour
90-day refills,
Dude, it did.
even rewards.
It felt like it.
Get a $5
Like I'm just like, it's already 11?
for every 10 prescriptions. On
And
your
I haven't
next
even
Target
gotten to half
run,
the
stop by CVS Pharmacy.
Yeah.
We're the place with the big heart.
Holy
Not
cow.
valid on all prescriptions, including those purchased in Arkansas, New Jersey, or New York. Other restrictions apply. See cvs.com/extracare-target or the pharmacy for details. CVS Pharmacy at Target. Health is everything.
The steering wheel can come right off. That's why Ford is recalling almost 1.5 million mid-size vehicles in North America, primarily 2014 through 2018 Ford Fusions and Lincoln MKZ sedans. The problem, the steering wheel bolts can come loose, causing the wheel to detach from the steering column. Ford has reports of 2 accidents and 1 injury. The online grocery wars are heating up again. Walmart is upping the ante, expanding the same-day delivery it now offers in only 6 markets to 40% of the country by the end of the year to compete with Amazon and several other companies.
Somewhat surprised the
offering
Saints
same-day
reported
delivery
interest in
for
Dunc and
various
Suh.
fees.
His rep
Walmart
from
is
Detroit and
taking
Miami
delivery
has
a
a
step
selfish
further,
introvert,
saying it
albeit
has
a very talented
18,000 personal shoppers who will shop and deliver groceries right to your doorstep.
They're trained for up to 3 weeks in how to select the best quality fresh food items and ensure that our customers are happy.
When you do shopping online, you can't choose your vegetables, you can't choose your fruits.
Sometimes I'll shop online because I don't have the time to travel.
I'm old school. I just like to come to the store and see what I'm getting.
Experts say, like any online purchase, buyer beware. Companies will likely be collecting your data and sharing it. So before you buy or download an app, read the terms and conditions.
NBC's Jolene Kent reporting online grocery sales are expected to reach $100 billion by 2025. Some progress, yes, but the gender pay gap is still prevalent in nearly all areas of the hospitality industry, Elisa Z reports.
The word, according to Gecko Hospitality's 2017 Restaurant Management Salary Survey report, is that bonuses and starting pay for men are considerably higher than for women in comparable positions. For example, male executive chefs average starting salary just over $66,000, while women in that position started around $61,000. The average male hourly worker worker starts at $13.29 an hour, with his female counterpart earning an average of $12.53. Elisa Z, NBC News Radio.
Consumer and business news.
I'm calling Nico Katzenstein now, right?
Yeah.
Right. You want me to tell David to call back?
I didn't even know he was on the line.
Yeah, I would say you walked away,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Okay.
I'd do that.
All right, cool.
Cancer. It will be a tough fight, but we have the home team advantage. Let's help the American Cancer Society help those with cancer. Join us at relayforlife.org and help attack cancer in our community.
Amazon Echo owners will soon be able to use the device to answer healthcare questions. Cigna says it's launching a skill for Echo called Answers by Cigna. That will allow the device's voice assistant, Alexa, to provide info on over 150 common healthcare questions. The skill follows one launched by the Mayo Clinic that lets Alexa give people first aid advice. Israel is the first country in the world to grant medical device approval to use a vaporizer for the use of medical marijuana. Elisa Z explains.
The folks at Tel Aviv-based Cannabo Research say their vape pod will let medical cannabis patients receive more effective, consistent, and accurate dosing. Most medical cannabis patients today, they say, smoke their cannabis despite the risks of
10 seconds.
The vape pod lets patients inhale their meds without taking those risks.
Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Dunc and Holder, hour number 2. On a Thursday, March 15th, Larry Holder, Clyde Verdane here with you. Jeff will return to the mic at some point next week, whether he's not held over by customs in London. I don't know if we're trying to smuggle in too much. I don't even know. What would you smuggle in from London? That's actually worth smuggling in. Crumpets? Tea?
Some tea. They make these really very, very quality, real buttery shortbread cookies.
How about the Queen's Crown?
Yeah, now we're talking.
That's worth it.
This is a national treasure, okay?
Can we have him say pip pip cheerio when he comes back?
Exactly.
The most thing he can probably steal is a really terrible British accent like Madonna.
Maybe Austin Powers' teeth. I don't know. Maybe we can get that from London.
Yeah, baby.
That would be glorious. But, yep, so he'll be back next week. But joining us right here on the show, we haven't even gotten to every storyline through free agency, but to help sift through everything on Josh Katzenstein, NOLA.com, and Times-Picayune, who's been busy crushing it for us, doing an awesome job with our own Herbie Teope.
Not sleeping.
No, absolutely not. Josh, let's start with the rumor now, according to Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, about Ndamukong Suh. What do you make of the connection there? And I'm assuming you're familiar with his reputation, given he's a former Detroit Lion and you used to cover the Lions up for the Detroit News before you started working here.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first saw that the Dolphins were planning on cutting him, I thought that he was probably going to be a good fit, mostly because he's the most disruptive defensive lineman available. He's a stellar football player. There's no doubt about that. The problem is that, his reputation, is pretty spot on from everything I saw in Detroit. And it sounds like, it hadn't changed at all since he's been in Miami. That he's a selfish player, not a, necessarily a team-first guy. Cares more about his business interests, not more than football, but, he cares a lot about his business interests. And I don't know, first of all, that, he would be able to thrive, outside of football in New Orleans, just because there aren't a lot of Fortune 500 companies here. I've always thought that he wanted to get back to Seattle. He's a Portland guy. He's a big Nike guy. Something on the West Coast or New York or Miami even made sense when he made that deal. But someone told me on Tuesday that the Saints weren't going to be interested in him just because they've built this locker room so well. With young team first guys. Unselfish guys, and I think that he might not necessarily fit in that, just because, all of a sudden if you pay this guy so much money, he becomes the example whether you like it or not. So I would be surprised if these reports of the interest are true, just because I had heard that they weren't going to be interested in him. But I guess, we'll find out exactly what's going on here pretty quickly.
Josh, of the moves that the Saints have made so far, which do you like the most? Outside of Drew Brees, obviously.
I like the Patrick Robinson signing, honestly. I mean, I think that was a good price, for a legitimate need that they had. I mean, they needed, someone who can play in the slot and cover slot receivers. Obviously Patrick Robinson was stellar last year at that for the Eagles and helped them get to the Super Bowl. He also played, some outside when there were injuries in that secondary. So, I mean, he's a versatile player. Obviously, he's significantly improved since he was here the first time. And I think, if you add him to this young defense, he can help some of these younger defensive backs, learn and grow a little bit. And I think that, one of the reasons the Saints, didn't love Kenny Vaccaro, I mean, obviously the penalties, the injuries, but I mean, he wasn't that fast. And all of a sudden, if you look at, the defensive backs that they brought in the past 2 years, they're clearly emphasizing speed, and Patrick Robinson is definitely a fast guy.
Josh, along that same front, I know yesterday when the news of Demario Davis came through, I know specifically on Twitter, you had a lot of people who were who saw his numbers but were maybe a little unconvinced that bringing in Patrick and or bringing in Demario Davis, guys who have really stellar numbers but maybe had, quote, inconsistent type play before, they weren't sold on it. But clearly these both Robinson and Davis have the wherewithal and quality that the Saints are probably looking for. Were you surprised, more or less, that the first two moves, or the first two big moves after Drew Brees that the Saints did were both on defensive players, such as Demario Davis and Patrick Robinson?
No, of course not. I mean, I think they still need to add, pieces to the defense even after signing those guys, which is, the one reason, as I said before, the Suh thing might make sense, but ultimately, with Davis, I think, that was a really good signing. I think, we're going to find out, exactly how he fits in the defense. I mean, right now, I would say he's the favorite to be the Mike linebacker. Would probably kick A.J. Klein over to Sam and Manti Te'o to a backup role. But, I mean, we look at, the linebackers they brought in, and durability has been a huge issue. I mean, pretty much everyone, all these linebackers that they brought in the past few years haven't been durable except Craig Robertson. And I think that, Demario Davis, look at what he's done, between the past 4 years. He did, 4 of the past 5 years with the Jets and then 1 with the Browns before the Browns traded him back to the Jets. He started all but 1 game the past 5 years. So this is clearly a durable player. Last year was the most productive year of his career. I mean, that's the one concern, with these free agent deals is when you're playing a guy, who has a monster contract year, you never know if he's going to get it back. But I mean, really, the Jets' defense, was not, the biggest issue with that team. I mean, their offense has been problematic pretty much the whole time Davis has been there. So I think, the defense has been fine, and he's been a reason, why that's the case. So I definitely think he's a guy that can help the Saints.
Josh Katzenstein covers the Saints for NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Josh, if you look at the move for the Saints as far as a backup quarterback, Chase Daniel's moving on, Tom Savage is moving in. What do you make of the swap and the prospects of the Saints being in position to potentially draft one come the end of April?
I don't expect them to draft somebody. I mean, I think if you just look at, where they're picking, they have the 27th pick. Most of the, top quarterbacks, I'd say there's like a tier of 5 quarterbacks. I think most of those guys, if not all of them, will be gone by the 27th pick. And then, beyond that, I mean, you basically just have a lot of Garrett Graysons, guys that, aren't probably going to ever start in the league. I mean, they might develop into good backups, but definitely not anyone that I would think is capable of, being the long-term replacement to Drew Brees. So I don't expect it to happen. I think, they're content to have Brees and then hope that either Savage or Taysom Hill can prove to be a fine backup. And then, they'll spend their draft picks on players that can hopefully contribute something this year because, they're hoping, obviously to get to the playoffs and then contend for a Super Bowl again. So they want to, fill as many holes around Drew Brees as possible. So I don't expect a quarterback to come. As for Savage, he's a guy with starting experience. So, that's something, that's valuable. But it's a one-year deal. Obviously, they're just, hoping that he can do something better than what he showed when he was starting, some of those games for the Texans. This guy's not that great, but, certainly, the Saints are not hoping, that he ever plays it down. They want Brees, in there, I guess, unless it's a blowout or something. But, I'm curious to see how the competition goes between Savage and Taysom Hill come training camp.
Oh, by the way, you had a chance to ask questions of Drew Brees yesterday. Normally, we'd be talking about that throughout much of this show. It's been buried because it's probably the 18th, 19th story now on NOLA.com in our Saints section. But what did you make of Drew Brees' comments for the questioning you guys did with the conference call yesterday?
It was nothing really surprising. He basically said that, he always wanted to stick with the Saints. And, obviously there were some other teams that had interest. And, he thought it was, interesting just to be in that realm again and hear what other teams are saying. But, it was, typical Drew Brees interview. He's just, shares a few thoughts but doesn't tell it all. He wouldn't say how long he's planning on playing, but he says he has a goal and a vision. So, whether, we'll see exactly what that goal and vision is. But obviously I think, if the Saints win another Super Bowl, that could certainly impact it.
Absolutely. And Josh, honestly, I guess, where do the Saints go from here now in terms of, you've got Drew Brees locked up, you're starting to make moves in free agency, and then obviously the draft is really looming large now. Where do you see really the Saints going now in terms of what do they do with the rest of free agency, and then how they attack free agency affect what they do in the draft?
Really right now, I don't know. That's another reason I don't know about this Suh interest. Obviously they could, do something creative to free some space, but they don't have that much space right now. So I think, they'll definitely scour the market. They'll probably bring back, Zach Line or John Kuhn or both. They have a hole at fullback with both those guys being free agents. They'll probably bring back a cheap defensive end, whether it's Alex Okafor or someone else. They'll just keep looking for pieces. You remember, there will be cheap guys they sign that don't count toward the top 51 salaries, so they don't, necessarily count toward their salary cap. So I'm sure they're looking, in the bargain bin right now. Kurt Coleman, DeMario Davis, Patrick Robinson, those are guys that, cost, they will definitely count on the cap, but, they're reasonable moves. They didn't, seem to overpay for those guys. So I think they're going to keep looking for signings that, fit basically what they've been doing.
Josh Katzenstein covers the Saints for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune at J. Katzenstein, a must follow. He's been swamped along with our own Herbie Teope doing a fantastic job. Josh, appreciate you jumping on the show, and I'd keep a lookout for those Barry Sanders to the Saints moves. I think that's going to be next.
Okay. I don't know. Would he get the ball more than Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram?
I bet you he'd be better than Adrian Peterson. Boom. I just had to throw a shot at AP. Sorry. Had to do it.
Of course you did.
Of course you
I
did.
I'm that petty. All right, Josh. See you. Thanks for the insight. All right, let's take a break right here on the show. Seriously, it's right here on Twitter. Barry Sanders better than AP right now.
That's not what it says. I'm looking at your screen. That's not what it says.
That's what I'm reading.
Then clearly we need to take you into the closest psychiatric ward and have you tested.
They've said I'm beyond repair, but they let me walk, so it's all good.
Okay, yeah. I was about to say, what kind of medicine did they give you? Because for your back and stuff? Because we have some questions.
Pez. Or they gave me those fake, what is it, birth control pills?
Placebos?
Yeah,
basically sugar pills?
They gave me a bunch of those. And some candy cigarettes so I could wean myself off of smoking even though I don't smoke. That's the gateway drug.
I have so many questions about your personal life, it's not even funny that we can't get into right now.
My friends would be more than happy to divulge and just embarrass.
I think we get those people on the show. Hopefully they'll be there Friday at our crawfish boil.
So, speaking of crawfish, Troubadour Hotel Friday. Head to the rooftop bar, the Monkey Board, 1111 Gravier Street. We'll be eating some crawfish. Myself, Clyde, Dave will be there starting at 5 o'clock. $25 get you 3 pounds of crawfish, 2 local draft beers. They'll be selling them till the crawfish runs out. And only for Dunc and Holder listeners, you can get and reserve a cabana for you and your friends for $500. Mention Dunc and Holder, and you get it for $500. Otherwise, you don't. You'll be paying more. So do yourself a favor and mention the show. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Up to 16 chances a day. Every
Not too bad, this radio thing every now and then.
Yeah, so I just talked with Forbes. She contacted Bo, and so gave him the contact number of who to call, who's aware of the deal.
Nice.
1280, New Orleans.
Moving and getting
The
things
Monkey
done.
Board.
Telling you, man.
Wow.
Every now and again.
man. Till they run out.
But actually, that's why I was kind of excited when I found out it was her who sold the deal, because she's one of the good ones.
Cool.
Fedor's rooftop.
This is smart hacks for your smart speakers.
Yeah, she's hungry too. You know, goes out there and beats the streets and
Nice. So
you know,
we just get there at 5 o'clock, or should I get there earlier, or what should I do?
I'd say maybe like 15, 20 minutes
I'll get
earlier.
there
I mean, I'll probably get there around 4:30. It's just to set up the banners and that kind of crap.
Okay.
Radio station like this. Alexa, play.
Oh, you know what? Actually, we need to get. Oh, wait, duh! You probably have one on your phone already. A recorder on your phone.
Yeah.
Because what we'll do is we'll pre-record the live read from the show, and then we'll email it to Angie, and they'll slip it into the break.
Cool. Yeah, we can do that when we get there.
Yeah, right. So we'll do all that.
Yeah, that's.
And then, I mean, you know how Corey is. I'm sure we could call Corey and give him a live update. Yada,
He'll keep me on the phone for 30
exactly.
minutes.
I know, right?
I was on with him yesterday.
Oh God, were you?
Yes.
I'm so sorry, you poor bastard.
Is a fickle mascot. The future is uncertain.
Sorry, Corey.
And what's my...
It's nothing I wouldn't say to your face.
All right.
Yeah, clearly.
Exactly.
It's a long, treacherous voyage filled with great peril.
Look, can I just get a deposit slip or something?
A fortune bank teller. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I see a yellow-eyed serpent and a low APR.
Geico.
All right, 1 minute.
You 15% or more.
Amazon Echo owners will soon be able to use the device to answer health.
Well, David in Vegas, if you're still listening, call us.
Oh,
Echo
okay.
called
That's it.
Yeah, I think he watches on YouTube. I think so.
I don't know.
Assistant Alexa to.
I mean, he was one of the first people who was calling when we first started the show. So I think that was. I mean, I'm assuming it was because of the YouTube feed, but I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, with the iHeart app, you never know.
Right.
Medical device approval.
I'm still waiting on those numbers, Clyde.
That's fine, man. It's all good.
Elisa Z explains.
Yeah, apparently I don't have access to the master page, and so they're trying to get me credentials for that.
Gotcha. More effective.
And that'll give all the good numbers that we need.
Most medical cannabis patients today, they say, smoke their cannabis.
But y'all are still the most downloaded show on the station.
That's
patients
crazy.
Inhale the meds without taking those risks.
What? Josh is a close second.
NBC News Radio.
What a surprise.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Talking Saints still. Obviously, the hottest moving topic of the week. Saints free agency. Talked a lot about Ndamukong Suh. And we just had on our own Josh Katzenstein, who actually covered him when he was in Detroit. Josh was covering the Lions before he actually started working here at NOLA.com at the Times-Picayune, so familiar with Ndamukong Suh, and was indifferent, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think understanding he could be a productive player, but he certainly comes with his own set of habits, we'll say.
Idiosyncrasies.
Yes, that's another good way to put it. So if you missed any of our show, been really hot and heavy, Saints talk. Also had Will Wade going nuclear, so that was always fun to listen to. If you missed any of it, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube page. And Clyde will have plenty to update us with on our NOLA.com post.
Although this is a lot harder. This is a lot harder doing that during the show and then actually sitting in Jeff's seat right now. It's so much easier when it's just you two. But I'm not hating it. I mean, I love it. It's a little bit more challenging than what I thought. Although I did fill out my bracket.
Well, that's, of course, number one priority. Clyde filled out his own bracket.
I did.
Very important because
during the show.
When do games start here in like 5 minutes?
Really like 5 minutes. Literally less than that, like 3 minutes. Because the NCAA has those weird times where they start at like 11:27.
I see an 11:40 game on True TV.
Oh yeah, that network that everybody forgets exists.
Tennessee, Wright State. Let's see. That's got to be the first. That's got to be the only game. No, 11:15 game.
Yeah, there's 14. Oh, so see, I got it in right before the gun.
Rhode Island, a 7 seed. Oklahoma, a 10 seed.
Yeah,
we will give our take it to the bank and throw them in the trash picks.
No, don't take it to the bank. Throw it in the trash immediately.
No, just
don't go to the bank
feel
with
good
it.
About it. Be tempted. Go to the bank, and then once you do it, throw it in the trash.
Fair
but
enough.
Some of you will be sucked in and bring it to the bank, and then you'll just be total losers. Like you're turning in Bitcoins and actually receiving Chuck E. Cheese coins, or you'll be receiving Toys R Us gift cards, and the store shuts down.
Yeah,
what a disaster.
Yeah,
my kid is distraught.
Why? Because I mean,
why?
How much? Okay, and again, this is
a 6-year-old
dad
wouldn't
problem.
Be distraught that Toys R Us is gone.
Although this
in Vegas.
Although this is so different, though. I mean, when we were kids, as opposed to kids now, how many are going in actual toy stores?
My kid wants to go every day.
Mine too.
Okay, well maybe I'm the only one. I don't have kids. Don't have kids yet.
But the program.
It is more expensive. I mean, it's cheaper to get it off of Amazon.
That's what I thought everybody does.
You know?
I thought that was the whole point. The reason Toys R Us is going out of business.
When you have kids, pre-planning kind of goes out the window.
You don't say.
Yes, exactly. So, all right, let's hit the phone lines, 504-260-1280. Let's head out to Vegas. Hey, David, thanks for calling back. I know you would call a little while ago.
Lovely Vegas.
Thanks for coming back. What you got, buddy?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be on with you guys.
You got it anytime.
I read your column on the Patrick Robertson, and that was an awesome I like that. That was really nice put together by you, Larry.
Appreciate it, buddy. I didn't pay you to even say that. I did not even pay you, even though I would pay you like $1 to say that.
It's about what it's worth anyway.
Absolutely. No, it's good, man. It was well put together, and I was glad you put that together for the fans. That was really good. I have to say I like the Patrick Robertson signing. I thought that was a very good signing. I mean, look, it's well documented. He had his ups and downs in New Orleans, but I think it's cool that we actually brought him back because he was a first-round pick of ours, late first round. And I think the talent's always been there. It's just putting it together. And he had ups and downs. Again, we had different coordinators, and some of it was a young player. Sometimes these guys takes a while for them to develop. And at the end of the day, we got him back, and he's going to help us in the slot and. He's got some talent, so I'm glad we got him back. I like the Davis signing a lot. You guys know probably better than anybody. Our linebackers on the team has been an issue for several years now. Going back to even as far as Vilma when he retired, we've had kind of been trying to plug and find guys for those positions, and as you know, we've had a lot of guys go down. Some guys just didn't work out, and a variety of reasons. So Davis, I think, brings a lot to the table. I like him. I think it's under the radar kind of signing because I didn't, probably most fans probably didn't even know who he was. I'm a little familiar with him because I'm a football junkie, but he's a good player, and I think he's going to be a good addition to the team with the other pieces we got there. If Teo stays healthy, and Klein comes back, and then adding depth to that position is only going to help the team. And I wouldn't be surprised if we draft a young guy. Now I don't know what's going to happen with Anzalone. I don't know if you have any update on that.
He should be healthy. Like, it's a shoulder injury. There's no reason for me not to think he comes back, and I think they're leaning on him to be their weak side guy. I really do.
Absolutely. So I think at the end of the day, this is a good signing, and Davis will start. Absolutely will start for us. And then, whatever we do in the draft and then going forward, I think this is just a welcome addition. And then we'll see what happens with Suh. I think it would be an interesting signing. You bring him into the locker room. Again, Cam Jordan, a lot of these guys, we have some good leaders in that locker room. So I think, when you come to a winning organization and then you have the certain individuals.
Adam, Jacksonville.
Hopefully it's going to be more positive if that was to happen. I think the money is going to be a big key into this. What are they willing to fork over for a guy like that? And is he willing to take a less money? Because obviously that money is going to be a key into this. But if we don't end up signing them, there's other guys out there, I think, at the end of the day that would help the team. I thought Bushrod was an interesting signing. I don't know. Obviously he can help us at guard and tackle. I'm not sure how much thread he's got left on the top, but I guess, having him as a veteran in the locker room will only help. I thought what was interesting, guys, maybe you guys can hit on it. Hernandez, the guard from Texas El Paso, it's going to be like a top, they say probably a first or second round pick. Pretty tough kid. A lot of people thought it was interesting the Saints are actually going to bring him in for a visit. And does that mean that there's a possibility they're going to move on from Andreas Peet or look for a trade partner? I hope not. I think Andreas Peet still got a lot of upside. I know he got hurt, but what's your thoughts on that? And who else out there do you think that you see them potentially bringing in? Thanks for your time, guys.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Dave. Let me. As far as I did see the Hernandez report about how they'd be visiting. They've got to look out for what they've got going. So as far as maybe with Andres Peet, look, he's entering his 4th season, and you're wondering what you do. So, look, I think they're just taking a look at him, and they're in a position, say, even at 27, you take the best player on the board. They did it with Ryan Ramczyk. So you got to do your homework on all these guys. As far as, I can't disagree with a lot what you said. As far as Jermon Bushrod, I think he knows that he's not coming in to be a starter, even though he was a starter with the Dolphins for the last 2 years at right guard. And I know we had him on the show, and he talked about how he got injured, and he only played 10 games last year. But I think he knows what he's getting into coming here. And I don't know. What if Bushrod's better than Andres Peet? Do you have a thought about that? That might be the case. I don't know. But who knows? They might look at it there. And look at the injury situation with Teron Armstead. We've seen so many times. He played left tackle his entire career in New Orleans, and for most of his career, well, if not all of it, in Chicago. So he's certainly a guy who you probably trust more at left tackle than maybe an Andres Peet. I don't know, but you kind of have to look at it in that terms. And so obviously, I think it's a good move. He's a utility guy. You certainly can't find a better guy in a locker room. He's an instant guy you gravitate to and has been through every situation. I know he's one of my favorites that I've covered. Never thought I'd be covering him again. I think it's great. I think it's great that I'm gonna be covering it again. So my personal opinion on that, and I'm sure nobody really cares about that, but that's okay. I have a talk show and y'all don't, so that's just my attitude there. All right, let's take a break right here on the show. I know Adam in Jacksonville on his lunch break. Please hang on through the commercial break. Let's take a break right here, and as soon as we get back, we will head out to Jacksonville and talk with Adam, and then we will also continue free agency talk. We will give our throw them in the trash, Final Four picks, and championship pick, and I'm ready to stun Clyde with my championship.
I can't wait.
It's a stunner. It's not really that stunning, but I'm stunned that I'm picking them. So we'll go with that. And phone calls are welcome. 504-260-1280. Again, Adam is at the other end of this break. We'll go with him. And so come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duck and Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by Holiday Inn West Bank.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz. Today, a good-looking day, mostly sunny skies, warming up to 72. Now tonight, overnight lows, not as cold. We're talking 50s both north and south. And for the next few days, Friday into the weekend, rain chance comes in around 30 to 40%. Not going to be a washout, but we are expecting showers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So just keep.
Oh my God! Breaking news.
This high temperature.
Donatello Versace says the designer brand will no longer carry fur.
Just Bruce Katz with your weather.
They'd rather make fake stuff than go naked than make fur.
And now you know. Dun 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 dun.
West Bank Tower with a view unlike any
Cardi
other.
B loses her mind because she loves fur.
Meet their sales team.
Throw her back in.
Special day.
For a limited time, Wendy's quarter-pound double stack is just $1. That's right, a tasty 2-story tower of melty cheese made with fresh, never-frozen beef for just $1.
Cardi B.
And we're back. Full circle.
Full circle.
Cardi B.
Cardi B. $1. But a deal this big doesn't come around every day. So get a quarter-pound double stack at Wendy's, because it won't be $1 forever.
Offer not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. At participating Wendy's.
Ooh, entertainment report. Here we go.
Oh, come on, Cardi B. Cardi B.
Oh, that don't sound like Cardi B.
Great start. Is poking fun at himself after a recent stage collapse in Ireland.
What?
Maker recently fell to his knees during a show at the C2C Festival in Dublin, Ireland. Paparazzi greeted him and his wife Faith Hill at JFK Airport in New York City and asked him about the incident. He again cited dehydration. He also joked that he needs to cut back on his workouts. It was a big night for American Idol finalist Kevin Covey. The Levittown native was featured in the This Is Us finale on NBC. Covey appeared as an ice cream shop employee in a scene with actress Chrissy.
Huge.
Breaking news.
American Idol and since then has appeared in several films. Organizers of next month's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Cardi B.
Events surrounding the celebration. The festivities will get underway March 24th in Cleveland and include a panel discussion and Hall of Fame series with 2018 inductees, the Moody Blues. Bon Jovi, The Cars, Dire Straits, Nina Simone, and Sister Rosetta Tharpe will also be inducted on April 14th. TMZ is reporting Serena Williams is launching her own beauty line called Anaris, which is her name spelled backwards. That's entertainment. Lisa G.
No Cardi B. Boo.
Yes.
I want a new entertainment spot.
At the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office Human Resources Department
stuff.
at 2800 Perdido Street. Potential deputy recruits must be at least 20 years of age and have a high school diploma or GED.
Let me finish
if
up.
you meet these criteria, you're asked to bring a valid state-issued ID to the job fair. That's Thursday, March 15th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and Friday, March 16th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Human Resources Department at 2800 Perdido Street. For more information, go to opso.us. That's OPS.
Here's some Cardi B. Here we go.
New Orleans sports talk about your favorite teams. Sports 1280.
All right, we still haven't even finished our roundup of Saints free agency moves.
And we literally have maybe 15 minutes of show left.
I know. Well, 20 some odd minutes.
Give or take.
To get our.
I'm not here to count.
To get our. Yeah, usually you are. We need you to do some math.
That's
sometimes,
true. Fair.
Because sometimes I got good math. Anywho. Alex Okafor, our own Herbie Teope, reporting that their Saints are interested in bringing him back, and yet he may be on his way to Tampa Bay. He's going to be visiting them. And someone via Twitter actually pointed out that it would be a good fit for him because his old defensive line coach from Arizona is now in Tampa, so that's probably one of the reasons why he's doing it. Do I think the Saints would benefit in bringing him back? Yes, but I'm not sure about his health, and I think, unfortunately for Okafor, he's probably got to do a one-year prove-it deal again because of the Achilles injury, because I think he was well on his way to getting a long-term deal. So curious to see what happens with Alex Okafor. Look, Delvin Breaux's always been a hot topic. Literally, I was talking with our own David Francis here on the elevator up, and he was asking about Delvin Breaux, and I've said it plenty enough on this show, Clyde. If I'm Delvin Breaux, I'm looking for another place to be. And sounds like that place could be in Denver. He's reportedly up there to take a physical, and wouldn't shock me at all. They've got an opening at cornerback. I don't think he's going to come in and immediately replace Aqib Talib. But there is an opening there, and so that interest makes sense.
Yeah, and as someone brought up on the YouTube stream, what's also been very interesting, we're talking about defensive backs. Haven't heard a lot on the Kenny Vaccaro front.
That is interesting. I thought he may be getting a little bit more run than he has. Okay, we are less than 24 hours into the signing period, but as we know, and everyone's got to remember by the time next year, as soon as that negotiating period starts, that's when free agency actually starts. So I'm curious to see what interest he receives and where that is, because look, we've already seen Senio Kelemete. He's going to the Texans. Chase Daniel, he is going to the Bears. Why do I feel like I'm missing someone? I don't know, because I've had too many free agency moves.
Raphael Bush.
Raphael Bush is now with the Buffalo Bills. And so, I'm curious to see Okafor. We've heard about him, but we've heard nothing about Kenny Vaccaro. Or if there's things going on, it's being tight-lipped and not being reported.
Very quiet, especially. And then just to stir up the Tyrann Mathieu pot a little bit, Tyrann apparently on NFL Network he says he'll sign with a team that has a football-first culture that's all about winning, even if that's not the team that offers him the most money.
Well, I don't know where you play him at this point. But, all right, let's hit the phone lines. 504-260-1280 is the number. Let's head to Jacksonville on his lunch break. Adam. Hey, Adam. Thanks for calling Duncan Holder. What's up, buddy?
Not a lot, guys. I haven't been able to listen to you live lately. I got a new job, but I've been having to catch up with the podcast. Just want to touch base on two things. One, before Drew Brees got signed, every night before dinner, we let my daughter, basically bless the food, ask for the food to be blessed, say grace. And she goes say amen. She was like, wait. And please let Drew Brees come back to the Saints. I got the dirtiest look from my old lady. Like, you really ever throw that in the paint? Nope. It was all her, man. So, one thing I want to touch base on real quick, I feel like they haven't addressed the defensive end position in, quite some time. They picked up Okafor last year. He did great. And they just re-signed George Johnson. And now, I'm glad that you guys just mentioned Okafor, that he might be going to Tampa Bay. Are they planning on addressing this in the draft? Or are they planning on going after anybody that might be out there in free agency? Because I know the defensive end position is not deep in free agency this year. So I'm going to let you guys go. Hey, love your show again, and appreciate you guys remembering me.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. Appreciate it as always. And, yeah, I think the defensive end position, I knew if they were going to sign someone, it would kind of be someone under the radar. If it were Okafor, it would maybe be – if it wasn't going to be Okafor, it would be someone else, because the market is just absent of defensive ends. The only two big names you were looking at were DeMarcus Lawrence and Ziggy Ansah. Both got franchise tag, and the market evaporated. Kind of like last year. You had huge names that were potentially going to be free agents. You had your Chandler Jones. You had Melvin Ingram. You had Jason Pierre-Paul. I think there were I'm maybe missing one. And all of those guys got franchise tagged, and some of them got long-term deals. And then the Nick Perrys of the world became your big target. So this market was absent of even more bigger names than last year. So it doesn't surprise me that they haven't addressed it quite yet, which leads me to believe if there's someone with the grade at 27, I think they have no problem going in and taking him in the draft. But I do think that that maybe they will add someone like you mentioned, George Johnson. They brought back
for a year.
They still have Trey Hendrickson. They still have Haley Kikaha. They still have Al-Qadim Muhammad. None of them are totally proven.
Kasim Edebali?
No, he's a free agent.
Free agent. Yeah, you're right.
Free agent. I doubt he comes back. I think he was just a hurry up and pick him up because you were absent bodies because of injuries. So,
do you think the Saints saw enough from guys like Trey Hendrickson and that core enough to make them maybe think that if they even have somebody remotely comparable that's competent at that role on the other side of Cam Jordan, that they can roll with that if they maybe strengthen the interior of that defensive line more than anything else?
I know they like Trey Hendrickson, and they think he can develop into a good player. So maybe. I do think, though, that Trey Hendrickson, is he a 3-down defensive end? I don't know. I feel like he could be more of a first, second down guy. I think you might want to go find maybe an edge rusher type guy to go with Cam Jordan, because Cam Jordan's an every down guy, but you could certainly bring in a pass rush specialist, and I think maybe that's what they could be looking for. But they do have internal options. They're not these options that are totally guaranteed to work. You don't know that, but I do think that at least if they had to roll with what they have, they can. And curious to see what happens with the Suh and Dominican Suh rumors. Again, if you're just joining us, NFL Network reporting that the Saints are interested in Suh and would like to be the first ones to get him in for a visit. And I am, here's the thing, I feel like this is what happened. I think the Saints passed on Muhammad Wilkerson, and then they go with Ndamukong Suh, who's had his own set of problems, but is Suh so much better than Wilkerson that you're willing to roll the dice? I'm curious to see how this thing pans out, really.
Yeah. How much are you willing to take on the headache for the hopes of the reaping the benefits of it by the end of the season? It's all basically one of those, it's kind of like a pendulum. It's how much are you willing to let that pendulum swing to hopefully get that, balance in the center. Because it's like Josh talked about, like the team, the way they've built this team, Mickey Loomis, Sean Payton, the way they've been able to stage this team as a very cohesive unit. How willing are you to try and add another piece that may be a little bit of a disruptor, but can stay within the confines of what they're trying to do as a collective group to reach the ultimate pinnacle, which is winning another Super Bowl?
And what's it going to cost? Because
that too. The money's, man, so much money. Like, eventually you have to believe the money is going to become an issue for everything, right? It's going to be so tight.
Well, for the Saints, yes, because and you see different numbers floating around on the internet. Like I saw people reporting today, according to the NFLPA website, the Saints have $15 million. This includes Drew Brees' deal. Well, when I was quoting Spot Track, which is them and overthecap.com are the two go-to cap sites for any of those out there. And I was tweeting yesterday with Spot Track, because I used them as a reference. I said the Saints have around $10 million, including the Brees deal and the Coleman deal, and it was actually 9.8. And here's what the NFLPA site is not taking into account that Spot Track is. Willie Snead's number doesn't count towards the NFLPA number. And the estimated draft picks does not count toward the NFLPA's number. So it's more, Spot Tracks is more of an estimation when you include your draft class.
Right.
You got to have money to pay them.
Yeah.
So, so it's something that's what they're taking into account, and you see in different numbers. And so now you got P-Rob's contract. Now you got DeMario Davis's contract. You got Tom Savage's contract, which I saw reported first by Aaron Wilson, who's been on the show of the Houston Chronicle. It's $1.5 million. I'm not sure what the exact cap number is. It might be a little different, but he's going to count toward the cap. And so all of these numbers, where are they going to go? How much money do you have left over? And how does that affect someone like Suh? And is Suh willing to finally take less to be on definitely the biggest contending team he's ever played on in his career?
Yeah.
Because he spent his whole career with Detroit and Miami, and never had a chance. Maybe 1 year or 2 years he went to the playoffs in Detroit. Maybe. I don't even remember. But, I think that's a big question mark with him. So we'll see what happens going forward. All right, let's take one final break here on the show, and we will talk NCAA tournament. Maybe we'll give you some scoring update, Clyde. Let's see if they actually have some games and some scores. And
Oh, yeah.
We've also got our poll question about Patrick Robinson. Are you yay or nay on the...
Got 9 minutes left to vote.
So I'm already looking at some of the results, and it's a landslide so far. Which way is it? We'll bring you that in our final segment here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder.
You're invited to the Walter Johnson Crawfish Boil. March 31st. Starts about 2 in the afternoon at Southport Hall. Crawfish from NOLA boils and music from Dr. Rock. More info at WRNO.com or Facebook.com/995 WRNO.
Hi, Eric Ashwood, celebrity chef Scott Craig of Katie's. Scott, you have to be excited about Katie's expanded second floor seating and private dining rooms.
Yeah, but how about my vast local sports knowledge?
You know sports, but shouldn't we be
Guy
talking
on
about
Twitter
your
is
award-winning Sunday
messaging me.
brunch?
He's like,
I'd rather talk about the Saints.
man, I think there's going to be controversy because Mark Ingram is currently living in P-Rob's house here.
Hey, man, I'm going to get that house out you.
Yeah, so what's going to happen?
So I'm going to need you to
You know,
You're gonna have to go downstairs.
Mandeville Live
Yeah.
Spring Concert.
You can't even
The
bring
Spring
your
Concert
stapler.
Series
Can't do
features
it.
I can't do it. I'm going to need
I need my
this.
stapler. Need my stapler.
in
Yeah, I'm just
historic
gonna-
Old
I'm gonna
Mandeville.
need
The series is
that.
scheduled from March 16th through May 4th.
I'm gonna burn the building down.
Man, Little Freddie King, and Amanda Shaw. Gates open at 6, concerts start at 6:30. Food and beverage will be available for purchase. For more information and to see the lineup, go to cityofmandeville.com for the Mandeville Live Spring Concert Series.
There's a girl in El Salvador who dreams of becoming an engineer. There's an elder
Oh,
in
Dave, so
Uganda
remember how
who
I was
dreams of
telling
having
you
a community
about
to call his
the
own. No
Black
two
Party,
dreams are the same.
Parasols, Tracy's?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
legit. Parasols did
Unbound.
not get the permit, so they have to be closed today and Saturday.
Crap.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes.
Basketball.
They might as well just close Parasols for good.
Of first round games.
The two biggest days of the year. Just give up.
Against Rhode Island in a 10-7 battle at 12:15 Eastern. Number 1 seeds Kansas and Villanova also in action. Texas Southern and Syracuse advancing in first 4 games last night. In the pros, Golden State over the Lakers 117-106 in the Bay last night without Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, or Draymond Green. Kevin Durant, who was there, saying he was looking forward to playing L.A.
They beat us pretty badly last year, and we almost had that sweep, but it's good.
All right, 30 seconds.
I'm out the way.
Warrior sharpshooter Klay Thompson didn't play due to a
God, that's just, it's mind-boggling. Like when your thoughts get trapped in a bottle, it's mind-boggling.
And someone throws it against the wall and it shatters and goes down the drain.
Yes, that.
Browns left tackle Joe Thomas announced.
Right. You know, whoever didn't do that needs to get fired.
It's the owner.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Well, he'll get fired. He won't get paid.
Yeah.
Dunc and Older Now. Eric Asher next at noon on Sports 1280 New Orleans.
Missed any of the show? Sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube page. And Clyde will also get some updates on NOLA.com as soon as he can, since he's filling in for old Jeffrey Duncan, who will be globe-trotting. He's currently en route to go try to steal the Queen's crown, or maybe one of the Buckingham Palace's guards, maybe one of their big, tall black hats. Maybe we can
as
do
a
that.
person that's been there, you're not going to do it.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Well, Jeff sounds like he's fleet of foot, but then
He's not. Remember, he doesn't have any ACL,
Well,
so
he
can't
be shifty.
Nah, and he can't run. And he says he can't run fast in one straight line. So it seems like a calamity of errors to me.
Yeah. So maybe he'll end up being Billy.
You should have been
Clubbed or
there to
something.
YouTube video.
I think.
Hey
we
man,
should.
I'd go to London. Absolutely.
Make the
I'd
road
go-
trip.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be more of like a road/boat than road trip.
Well, why would you ever have to get on a boat?
Well, I mean, have you ever wanted to go across the Atlantic to get to London? I hear it's okay.
I'm not gonna take a boat. Last boat I heard try to do that hit an iceberg and peaced
Ooh,
out.
that's a good point. I think we'd have a little bit better technology now than we did back in the
Well,
early 1900s.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but still, why wasn't there enough room for Leonardo DiCaprio on that thing? Kate Winslet just totally said, "Nope, nothing for you, bro."
I'll never let go, Jack, but I ain't got room for you on this deck.
I'll never let go, but if you let go, oh well.
Yeah, well, you were already frozen and dead, so it didn't matter.
See ya. Exactly. So, NCAA tournament, by the way, is going on, and we would probably have talked about it more if any schools in Louisiana actually made it. They did not. At least your Lady Colonels will be.
They're just colonels. They're no lady colonels.
They're not
just
lady colonels?
No,
Why
there's
not?
no lady because it's a
I guess
unified brand.
I guess Colonel could be unified.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
a
true.
unified brand, so it's just colonels, all colonels.
Right. All right, I could see that. So you're heading up there, or what?
Yep, driving up there Saturday morning. I actually saw Doobie last night. Got to tell her congratulations in person early. She was at the UNO UTRGV CBI game.
Oh, by the way, UNO won that game, so
Yes.
they will be taking on
Campbell
on Monday. So
Yes.
good for the UNO Privateers. Of course, also LSU and ULL had a little tiff.
Which
but-
I really wish we could have gotten into more on this show. Which I'm gonna let's speed through this because I have some things to say.
Well, I don't know if we can. Because we're giving our NCAA tournament picks.
Which I'm ready.
Well, okay. I'll just say one more thing. Didn't the guy LSU's going to play Utah on Monday
Yes.
in the next round of the NIT, And didn't the Utah guy throw his chair and get tossed?
Yes.
So we're going to see more WWE antics between the Utah coach and Will Wade.
I don't know about that. I saw some tweets. I guess Will Wade was on radio in Baton Rouge today, and he was a little bit more, let's just say he wasn't as fired up. Someone put the fire extinguisher on him, and he was a little more complimentary, but I guess this last night got him real super amped.
Yes.
Right to go.
Well, we played his 4-minute rant, so you missed it. Go check out the podcast later on or the YouTube video later on. So, all right. Our NCAA tournament picks, I'm not lying to you in that I've literally, when I picked up a newspaper from off of our set, it's the first time I've actually looked at the bracket. I've been so wrapped up in NFL free agency. Oh, by the way, the Pelicans play the Spurs tonight. We didn't even get to that either.
No Kawhi Leonard. Apparently, Kawhi Leonard is not practicing with the Spurs, so they don't know what he's doing or when he's going to be available, per our a retweet by Will Guillory.
I bet you we'll talk about the results tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll certainly do that. But NCAA tournament, games have already started, and we are going to make our Final Four picks and our championship picks, because I would say our upset specials, but I would have no clue. I would just be stabbing in the dark at this.
That's fair. I mean, honestly, the only games you're going to want to look at upset special-wise are Loyola Chicago, Stephen F. Austin, and Wright State, who is currently playing Tennessee right now, is down by 5, but it's still a lot of game left to play. And Oklahoma right now is currently with a slim 2-point lead over the University of Rhode Island, 29-27. That first half is about to end.
Okay. So, moment of truth. First of all, your bracket did get in time, right?
It did. So
I already see your national champion. That's so weak. Anyway, all right, give me your Final Four.
All right.
Your national. Oh, you're so weak.
So clearly, don't listen to Larry after this is over. But for the Final Four, I have in one side, have an all-ACC Final Four, the University of Virginia taking on North Carolina in a rematch of the ACC title game. And then on the other side, I have Villanova against Michigan State. I have I have Michigan State moving on in that game, and I have Virginia moving on against North Carolina, and I have Virginia defeating the Spartans, beating Sparty 66-60 to win the national championship.
Okay. I'm not doing any of that. I think Virginia is nothing but a bunch of chokers. I know they're 31-2, but
they play great defense, though. Defense wins championships, man.
So what? I don't care. I have Cincinnati coming out of that bracket. I'm going to also go with Xavier. I'm going to go Michigan State as well out of that bracket.
Okay.
And then I will go Villanova. So I got Villanova, Michigan State, and Cincinnati and Xavier.
So you're basically going to have like an all Cincinnati, Ohio Final Four, and then Villanova, Michigan State on the other side.
Right, exactly. So then I'm going to go Villanova to get to the championship game, Cincinnati getting to the championship game, and the Bearcats win it all, baby.
Wow.
Cincinnati.
Brandon Sejo, if you're listening, you're welcome.
It's not even Kenyon Martin's not even on the team.
No, he's not on the team.
This is a legitimate 2 seed because last time they were a million years ago, they had to fall to a 2 seed and they got upset because Kenyon Martin was hurt, but they would have won it all that year. So Cincinnati, going to win it all.
Well, I cannot tell you how terrible of a pick that is. Not anything against Cincinnati or Xavier.
So you're telling me that's a terrible pick.
I'm telling you that's a terrible pick. But at the same time, though, especially in this NCAA tournament, there are anywhere from 14 to 18 teams that have a legitimate shot at winning.
Cincinnati's one of them.
Cincinnati could be one of them. Xavier could be one of them. I just don't think that Xavier nor Cincinnati will have the depth that some of the other bigger teams have, such as Virginia, such as North Carolina. And honestly, you're talking about Xavier having to go through, they'll possibly have to go through Gonzaga, and then play North Carolina in the Elite Eight. So you're talking about Sweet 16. That's a tough matchup for them. And the same thing for Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to have a very, very tough draw because they're going to have to go through a very solid maybe Nevada squad and then have to play Miami and then Virginia. I think Virginia has a better lineup than Cincinnati does.
I don't care. I was right about Patrick Robinson. I'm right about Cincinnati. There you go. Poll results real quick.
Poll results real quick of our poll from how do you feel about the Saints signing Patrick Robinson to a 4-year deal? 81% of 269 voters believe that it is a greatest of all time move?
30.
As opposed to what?
A move.
Referencing my column. So anyway, I want to thank Josh Katzenstein. Great show. Eric Asher is coming up next. Free agent bonanza. Wonder what's going to happen with Ndamukong Suh. If anything happens tomorrow, we'll talk about it. So come on back.
10 seconds.
Clyde and I will be back here tomorrow. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Oh boy.
People who name their savings account.
Thanks,
See you tomorrow.
All right.